Hello, welcome back to Two Tools to Drive. Welcome to a new video, and not really the way I wanted to start this video. But yes, if you don't follow me on Instagram or you haven't seen my YouTube short, not that long ago, a couple of days ago, my Jaguar F-Type was recovered and it is currently sat at a dealership waiting to be repaired. I'm going to explain everything in this video, so if you're interested, stay tuned. If you're not already, please like, please subscribe, all that jazz, and let's get into it. So in my last video, I talked about the Range Rover Evoque. Well, that Range Rover Evoque was the car that Jaguar Cheltenham gave me for the time of which they were repairing my F-Type. So what was wrong with my F-Type in the first place? Well, my Jaguar F-Type exhaust valve wasn't functioning properly. It would kind of work, but it sounded like it was getting stuck when I used to press the button in the dash. So I booked it in for a repair. I highlighted a few things to them: the air vents at the time, a clanking noise with the door, and the exhaust. Now, they looked at the air vents when it went in for its original service, and they couldn't fault it, so it's continued as normal. But the exhaust, they could, but they couldn't repair it at the time. So they said I needed to bring the car back for them to do the repair. Now, the original plan was for me to get a Range Rover Sport D300 that I was going to test drive from Friday to Monday whilst they fixed the car, because I was interested in purchasing, potentially, and replacing my Golf diesel. Well, that didn't work out so well. The Range Rover Sport they were meant to lend me sold earlier that week. They didn't have a replacement vehicle, so they said they'd get me a Velar with the D300 engine to try. Turned up at the dealership and they gave me a Range Rover Evoque P380, which is the review/impressions I did last time, which you can click up here to watch if you haven't already. So on Monday, I went back to Jaguar and collected my F-Type. As far as I was aware, everything was okay. I got in the car. Now, where the dealership is located is actually less than 1 mile from where I work, so, or give or take. So I didn't really need to push the car. It was 30 miles per hour all the way. In fact, part of the way on there was 20. So I didn't really use the car. Parked the car at work, did my full day at work, and then decided to go home. So unfortunately, this is kind of where things went wrong. On my way home, I have to join the M5 before the A417 before heading back over to Oxford. So for the start of the journey, it's mostly low speed, 30, 50 at a push. But as I join the M5, you can increase your speed to 70. As I went down the slip road of the M5 in Cheltenham, something happened. Going down the slip road, and basically what happened was lights came on the dash, noise out the back that I've never heard before, a lot of shake from the car, something wasn't right. So I quickly pulled into the hard shoulder, kind of sat there for a bit, was unsure of kind of what I was going to do, but if I'm all honest, I knew I didn't want to sit on the M5 hard shoulder, and I'd literally just joined. Had it happened 3 seconds ago, I would have been fine and I would have been out the way, but I didn't really want to be on the M5. So I pulled back onto the M5 and basically crawled to the A417 and then crawled to the first junction before stopping in I think it was a garden centre or something, where I could rethink and decide what to do. Now, this all happened about, what time would it have been? It would have been about 5:30, 5:45-ish. So I pull over at the garden centre and basically I get on the phone to Cheltenham straight away. That was who had the car over the last 4 days. I've never had any problems with my F-Type for the last 3 years. I take it to them to get a repair, and instantly my car is now engine lights and not functioning properly. So I call them up straight away, and what do they say? They basically said, "We're closing in 15 minutes, sir. Sorry, we can't help you." Now, this is where I kind of get a bit peeved off, if I'm honest. As far as I'm concerned at this point, you've broken my car, and now you're telling me you're closing 15 minutes. I don't think that's really relevant. You know, I work in sales. Customer service is king. If you want repeat customers, you got to be good to the customers. This is where I was starting to get already a bit annoyed. I spoke to someone on the phone. They spoke to their manager, said they're shutting. I gave them a suggestion that I would bring the car back to them and then take the Range Rover Evoque I dropped off earlier that day and take that back to Oxford. Their suggestion was to drive back to Oxford, because it's an amber engine light, it can be driven, drive back to Oxford, and then in the morning come back again, which is about an 80-mile round trip. when I was 3 miles from the dealership, and I could have got there in 5-10 minutes. So I take the car home. It sounds funky on the way home. There's a lot of hills, so it revs quite high to get up the hills and things like that, and it just sounded pretty loud. It sounded like the exhaust had fallen off, if I'm honest. I'll play a clip for you for what it sounded like when we started it up before we put it on the trailer. And just to remind you, this is how it should sound. So yeah, there was something definitely wrong with the car. I got home, I called Jaguar Assistance. Jaguar Assistance were actually pretty good. They organised someone to come out and look at the car at 10 o'clock the following morning. Someone came out, guy called Mark from Jaguar Assistance. He basically diagnosed the car. He wasn't sure exactly what was wrong, but he knew it was going to be a faff and not something that he could fix on my drive. So the car needed to be onto a recovery truck and then back to Cheltenham. So Mark organised it all, recovery truck turns up, but just before Mark left, he informed me that Cheltenham have denied the service of the car because they're too busy. Now once again, this is starting to annoy me now. As far as I'm concerned, you broke the car, now you're not even going to look at it, when surely that makes the most sense. Out of all the dealer networks, it makes the most sense for you to look at the car because you had it last. But no, they deny the service and it has to go to Oxford. Now Oxford is nearer to my house, but the advantage with the Cheltenham one is I can go to the Cheltenham one and then go to work quite easily. Being in Oxford, I'm not near work, so that was a bit of a pain. Then it gets loaded onto a recovery truck and I say goodbye Jag. Then I get a call maybe later that day from Oxford. Finally the first guy to apologise for the inconvenience. No one else at this point had really said anything other than a bit of a pain. Said they're going to organise a car for me. It was going to be a Range Rover Velar and you'll have that whilst it's in for service. And this is where he informed me how long it's going to take before I'm probably going to get my car back. Yeah, so this isn't great. I'm probably not, well, that the diagnosis for the car isn't going to happen till June. Well, it was like the 1st of May. Well, actually no, it was like the 30th of April when this happened. So yeah, it's a long time for a diagnosis. That wasn't even the repair. So now I'm thinking, great, weather's getting better and I'm without my F-Type. But I'm not blaming Oxford really because, well, Oxford have got their own busy schedule and they didn't break my car as far as I'm concerned. Cheltenham did. So Cheltenham should fix the car and get it back to me. So that's basically what's going on. That's all I know at the moment. The Range Rover Velar was delivered yesterday. So I've only had it for a day. I can use it just as much as I do any other car, so I'm using it a lot. I'll be going to London in it. I'll be going to, I was going to say something then, but I won't. I'm going to be going lots of places and using that car. It's not the best engine in the world in the Velar. I'll do a proper review on that, but it's the P200. First impressions, if you're buying a P200, it's because you can't afford any other model. Sorry. I don't know why you'd buy a Range Rover Velar with that engine in. It just baffles me that it was even created. But I like it, I'm not going to lie. More on that coming later. But yeah, June. That's the last I've heard, basically. No updates since then. I don't know if it's going to be covered under warranty. I don't know anything yet, but I will keep you updated as and when I know. If you're not already, follow me on Instagram and all that jazz, because that's where I tend to update people on stories. It's just easiest. But yeah. Not really the best day I've ever had owning the F-Type, and a bit annoying because in the 3 years of ownership, I've never had a problem. I get it booked in for a tiny little exhaust valve, which I was told was covered under my warranty, no issues, going to be sorted, and yeah, no F-Type for a bit. But I've got a Range Rover Velar, I'll do a video on that in a bit, and keep you updated as this goes on. Right. Thanks very much for watching, I really do appreciate it. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Bye!